Hi, this is JP, founder of LeanWisdom, Agile and Safe Program Consultant. This video we are going to talk about how do we implement a beautiful waterfall in a 2-week iteration. Right? You must be wondering, why am I talking about waterfall in an iteration, right? I'll tell you how you do it. Right? Most of the times I've seen, most of the organizations do implement a beautiful waterfall inside an iteration, right? Inside a 2-week sprint. I'll give you symptoms so that you will figure out, I think looks like he's talking about our team. The first symptom is team work on multiple items in parallel. Multiple user stories are in progress at any point of time in the 2 weeks time, from day 1 to day 9. Number one. Second symptom, you will see many stories getting completed in the last 2 days. Last 1 or 2 days, you see that suddenly story over story getting completed. Product owner is very key in the last 2-3 days, but first 5-6 days nothing has been complete. Have you seen it? If it is yes, that means you are implementing waterfall. Now third one is about mindset. On day 4 and day 10, if I look at in a sprint, day 4 and day 10, how is the mindset of your people, your team in these 2 days? If you see that day 4 people are cool, chilled and enjoying, relaxing, on day 9 and day 10 they are really tense. Another 4 hours we have a sprint review, we have to fix 4 defects, right? We have to give a demo, then nothing is working now, or there is something which is failing. The team is under pressure for last 2-3 days. If you see this symptom, it's a waterfall. Last 3 days is more of testing. First 2-3 days is of more of design, and then it's more of development. Like 2-3 days of design, like planning and design, and then 4-5 days of development, and last 2-3 days of heavy loaded testing. You would have seen this somewhere, right? This is called waterfall. Now if you put this in a sprint, what does it mean? You have implemented a beautiful waterfall inside your 2-week sprint. Now, are you agile or are you waterfall? It's a question that you should think about and answer, right? Now, what does it mean? My agile team is not agile, they are waterfall. So how do I make sure, if you see all these symptoms, that means your team is a waterfall team inside a 2-week sprint. For me, 2-week sprint or 2-week iteration is not just iteration. I consider 2-week iteration is a project. Why is it a project? Somebody gives me a requirement, I am part of the team, a product owner or a customer comes and tells me, hey, you know what, I want you to build these 10-15 stories in this next 2 weeks. So what do? I do planning, and then I do design, I do development, I do testing. I make sure that these 10-15 items that I have picked, we as a team we have picked, we deliver at the end of this 2 weeks. Is this a project? Of course, this is how we execute project. So consider 2-week iteration as a project, not as just one iteration. Now if you consider this as a project, you start with the planning and then design for a few days, and then the development for a few days, and the last 3 days of testing, you are a waterfall team. So you should move out of this if you see these symptoms. How do you move out? You are a waterfall, you identify. How do you move out now? Number 1, limit work in progress. We have seen this in the previous video. Why we should limit work in progress. Right? It's very important to deliver incremental software within a sprint. So Agile is all about incremental and iterative software development. Right? What do you mean by incremental? One way to look at incremental is every 2 weeks we as a team, we deliver some value. So I deliver some value, next 2 weeks I deliver some more value, next 2 weeks I deliver some more value. So value is getting delivered incrementally, sprint over sprint, iteration over iteration. That is one way to look at it. Very key thing, a very important thing to look at is, are we incremental within a 2 weeks iteration? Are we delivering value in every 2 weeks, every day in a 2-week iteration? If you are not, that should be our focus. I'll give you an example. Even in a 10-day sprint, day 1, day 2, day 3. Okay, now we are done with 2-3 days. Have we delivered 20-30% of our committed backlog, right, sprint backlog, right, to our product owner? Have we delivered that? If it is not, then you should start focusing. So for you to deliver that, limit your work in progress. Your work in progress should be as small as possible that you are able to deliver that value. As a team, we are able to deliver value. So that means you have to work together as a team, not as individuals. Don't run multiple stories in parallel. Right? Number 1. Second is that one item that you pick as one story or one backlog item at a time should be small enough that you are able to deliver in 2-3 days. In my definition, there is no one single formula for what should be the size of a story. In my way, the way I look at this is, not 2 or 3 days that you should, not more than 2 or 3 days that you should take to deliver one user story. Pick a story as a team, deliver after 2 days, right, maximum. If it goes beyond that, what if it takes 5 days to deliver one user story? What do? See if you can break that one user story into 2 or 3 smaller user stories and deliver each user story in incremental fashion. Okay, so deliver incrementally and very small size. Yeah. And what does it mean, delivery? Every user story you should deliver end to end. Can you avoid waterfall? Probably you cannot avoid waterfall. So what do we do? Minimize that waterfall effect into a story level. Every user story should be planned, designed, developed, tested, unit tested, automation done, definition of done met, your acceptance criteria met, it is closed. And then pick the second story. Again you will see the same cycle. Again pick the third story. Again you see the same cycle. So if you deliver value, a waterfall way of delivering value inside a story, you become incremental. Don't keep waterfallish behavior inside an iteration. Keep waterfallish behavior inside your story. And that story should be as small as 1 or 2 days of development, not more than 2-3 days maximum. Yeah. So break it into smaller user stories. How is it possible? How is that? How can we do that? If you go back and look at it, the fundamental challenge would have been a backlog because it's big, one issue, right? And so, which is not a big deal. You can actually break it into smaller. If you use some of these user story splitting techniques, there are like 10-15 good techniques that exist, right? Learn about it and then use those techniques and then break that one user story into smaller user stories. It's not a big deal. The other bigger challenge that you normally see is the ability to build, right? As a team, are we able to deliver value, right, in a small chunk? What if I have a team which is only, which is siloed skilled, I skilled. Right? I have a team member who's can do only Java coding. I have another team member who can do only JavaScript. There's one more person who can do only manual testing. The moment you have that siloed skill team, though the team is cross-functional, individuals are not cross-functional. You will see this challenge. So you have to start addressing structural, a skill problems here and start building, a multi-skill. A team should start building a cross-skill so that they can help each other and build stories incrementally. Yeah. So waterfallish behavior is not right at the sprint level, but it's okay to have it at a story level. Yeah. Hope this video was helpful. Please try this. I'm sure you will see, you will get a benefit out of this. I have tried several times and every time I tried it worked. It beautifully worked, right? So I would suggest you try and I'm sure it'll help you. Thank you for watching.